Welcome everyone to episode number 1 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. So this is a new series where I will start at a 400 elo on a brand new account. This is an authorized speedrun account. And the goal for the series is to try and climb the rating ranks while playing a lot of aggressive, maybe slightly dubious, but tricky and trappy chess. And I'm hoping that viewers can not only be entertained, but also learn a different style of chess and hopefully incorporate some of the lessons from my games into your own games. So should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And let's hop into the first game. Okay, first opponent playing Rajiv 12. I'm going to start with e4, the most aggressive opening in chess. And what do I want to play? Maybe we can start with a Danish Gambit, or at least attempted Danish Gambit. Sometimes at this rating level, it's hard to get exact opening theory. But the Danish Gambit is where white sacrifices up to 2 pawns to get very quick development. And black is capturing so far, but doesn't capture on b2. I'm going to leave this pawn on c3 and just focus on rapid development. Now, when I did the beginner to master speedrun, I was playing a way more solid and traditional style of chess. But a lot of the same principles still apply of developing actively. I think now I'll just take on c3, looking to go for this fork in the center, hit the queen and the pawn. Black pins my knight. Now, I have a few options here. I could start with bishop g5. I'm just going to castle and sacrifice maybe some material on c3. I really want to go for this move still, so if black weren't to take, then I would have played knight d5. If black takes here, yeah, it's true, my bishop and rook are attacked. But maybe I can set up the first trap of this game, and I'll play queen d5, and I can say, oh no, my rook. But I'm going for a bigger threat in the position. And black is already under some pressure. If knight h6 to defend f7, I can take it. That wouldn't really solve anything for black. I think the best move here is queen f6, but then I can keep initiative and develop with tempo. Actually, after queen f6, maybe I can play bishop b2 to skewer along the diagonal, and the queen would be tied down to f7. But black takes the poisonous rook, and this is mate next move. So nice quick game to start the series. Yeah, and goes to show the venom of this Gambit opening. I don't know if this is like fully a Danish Gambit. Usually like Danish Gambit accepted is when black takes again on b2. And the whole point is white does sacrifice 2 pawns, but gets very active bishops aimed at black's kingside. Very fun, very effective opening at this level. And even when black doesn't take on b2, I still was able to get rapid development. And I think a big mistake for my opponent was bringing out the queen too early, where, yeah, I focused more on development of my minor pieces, and black did not realize a threat here. The best move would have been knight d8, but then still have a good position after bishop d2, attacking and defending. So let's keep it going. First game down. I'll probably end up playing a good handful of games this episode, up to 417, playing 212 Hassan, and we'll see another Gambit, this time the Englund Gambit. And this is actually one way to decline the Gambit, pawn e3. Now, what's the most aggressive thing to do here? I think I'll leave the pawn available for capture. Really want to insist on not being materialistic, but focusing on active development. I think here I'll just play pawn e4, grab space, and attack the knight. And a common theme that we'll see with not only these early games, but probably throughout the series is I'm going to focus on like very quick acceleration of developing my minor pieces. Knights and bishops come out very quickly. And when you can develop quicker than your opponent, then very often it can lead to earlier tactics. Now I'm playing h5 here to try and set up the Greek gift with bishop takes h2 and knight g4. My opponent does defend. g3 is maybe one of the better moves for white. But this does weaken the light squares, allows for bishop h3 to attack the rook. Now the rook has one safe move, if white wants to save it. And I'm still in very good shape to attack. Each pawn will be used as a way of opening the king side a bit. Hopefully get my rook into play. And very likely I'll end up playing queen d7, maybe even castling queenside. And then eventually use the h-file to perhaps checkmate. Like long term, queen d7, take the pawn, maybe even sack the bishop to get the queen in. Could be interesting. And white's a little bit cramped with the structure. White takes on h4. So this gives me some additional options. I could take back with the rook. I'm actually thinking about still sacking my bishop. Like bishop takes h2 and then knight g4 and then queen takes h4. Looks like one of the quickest ways to destroy white's kingside. And white doesn't have too many options. King's attacked. The pawn will be captured next move. Now, I did mention earlier that I was going for a Greek gift, which is usually defined by sacking the bishop and moving the knight in. So this is perhaps a different version of the Greek gift, where I did sack my bishop and my knight, but the combination of the queen and rook is very hard for now for white to defend against. Threatening to take, and here, yeah, might as well take. Threatening the queen, threatening checkmate in one. Showing no mercy. I don't think white has any way to prevent checkmate here. Maybe f3 is the best try, but it's still made into queen h2, and then bishop h3 will be mate. The opponent has a lot of time, but only one legal move. I know sometimes at this rating level, opponents might struggle to find the one legal move, but okay, another quick win. 15 moves. I think overall that was a nice and smooth game. I'm sure we'll have instances of the Englund Gambit again where yeah, if white takes the pawn, there's a lot of different ways to seize initiative. In this specific move order, if white were to take the pawn, I was probably going to play knight c6, and then look to recapture, or even look to play f6, and then treat this as a reverse black Mardimer gambit. One more thing I want to show before we move on is when I play h5, the whole idea is to cover this g4 square. So if white were to, let's say, do something on the queen side, then bishop takes h2 is a very effective Greek gift, because after takes, check, if the king moves back, I would go in, and there's no good way for white to stop queen h2. And if takes, then h-file opens, and this would be very similar to what just happened in the game. It's force mate. If f3, I can play g3, and queen h1 is coming. So, nice game. Let's keep it going. Up to 433. Play e4 again. Generally with e4, there's more aggressive and tricky gambits that can be played. This time we have the Smith-Morra gambit against the Sicilian. And black does not take the pawn, rather plays knight c6. I think this is going to be another common theme with these early games, is I'll be pushing my pawns in the center, and if there's an opportunity to push a pawn to attack a knight, it's usually worth going for. Because I gain time, I gain space. If black wants to save the knight, it has to move again. And I'll keep expanding. Pawn f4, treating the knight like a soccer ball, just kicking it around. Now, sometimes you have to be careful with overextending the pawns like this, but I can very safely develop my minor pieces behind the pawns. And I didn't want to play f5 immediately, even though it would kick the knight again. The knight could return here. So with this move, I'm essentially controlling the square one more time, and now I believe this does win a piece. So the knight has 3 legal moves, but all these squares are covered by my pieces. My knight covers h4 and e5, the bishop covers f4. But black is on the counterattack. Queen a5. Debating what to do here. I mean, the natural move would be probably c3 or bishop d2. It is worth considering b4. But then take and then c3. I'm going to play c3 first. I think this is the simple way to go. Just block the check. Wow, black plays f6. So not recapturing my pawn. Let's develop with tempo. Now, developing with tempo, it's a phrase I used, I think, in the first game, but very simply means that you develop a piece and you attack an opponent piece, essentially winning time, forcing the opponent, in this case, to defend. And now I can either castle, I could take the pawn. Looking for the trickiest response here. Could play knight e5, actually, is kind of interesting. Let's go for knight e5. Maybe not the best move objectively, but it opens up the path for the queen to come to h5. It also allows for recapturing on g6. And yeah, I'll go ahead and take attacking the rook. Now, unfortunately, I don't have queen h5 when the rook is controlling the h-file. But the rook doesn't have too many squares on the h-file. h6 is off limits due to my bishop. h5 as well. h7 is a safe square. And now I'm actually drawn towards this bishop on f8. I don't want to take it right away, but I think what I can do is first take the knight, assuming black will take back, and then I'll castle. And castling is a pretty ironic move, because usually you castle in the opening to get your king safe, but in this case I castle to threaten checkmate in 1, and that's game over. And black, actually, I don't think could have saved the bishop here. So rook h8, I would take it, and yeah, the bishop's just trapped. So there were a few literal traps this game. First trapping the knight, and then trapping the bishop with castling, which is not a tactic you see every day. So nice game. Let's keep it going. Speeding my way to 500 elo, up to 454. Okay, we have a king's pawn opening, this time from the black side. And are we going to get a Stafford Gambit? No, we don't. So I'll play a 4 knights here. And this may not seem so tricky, but yeah, at a beginner level, bishop c4 is one of the most common moves, and this allows for the center fork trick. And actually now allows for just a free piece. I think white was trying for some kind of fried liver, but it's backfiring. I'm now attacking the queen and the bishop. I've won a knight, now winning the queen. No mercy. I think this is very typical 400 elo chess. But again, punishing beginner mistakes. I played maybe a more high-level opening. Like, usually don't see this center fork trick until maybe around 1000 elo. But yeah, white was a little bit reckless. Gave me a bit too much free material. I should note that if white were to take my knight, I was going to win back a minor piece and take over the center and have a nice position. So let's keep it going. Up to 476. And I'll play e4 again. So far we've had pretty much a different gambit every game. Had a Smith-Morra Gambit, had a Danish Gambit, had the Englund Gambit. I could go for another Danish. I'll go for a King's Gambit. We'll mix it up a little bit. Black plays Knight f6, which I think is a playable move, but allows me to gain time against the knight. Now, whenever you play the King's Gambit, you do have to watch out for this check, and black is threatening Queen h4. So I'll go ahead and develop my knight and defend against the threat. And now I can probably start kicking the knight. Pawn d3 looks quite nice. I should note that f6 is a bit weakening for black. I could take. I think I will go ahead and take. And whenever the f-pawn moves, you always have to look out for these potential checks. In this case, Queen h5, there's g6. And I could win the pawn if I want. I'm going to be a little bit more ambitious. Rather than going after the pawn, I want to develop my bishop first. And it's a very common theme in the King's Gambit that when you move your f-pawn early and the f-file opens, then when you castle, the rook has a nice, in this case, open file to control. So I'll castle, and we see I'm a bit more developed than black. Have my king safer, have my bishop developed. Black is going for the development of the queen. And now it's a question how to start maybe making threats in the position. I'm just going to develop the rest of my pieces. This is developing with tempo because I attack the undefended pawn. Okay, black is going for mate. I do have to be careful. If I play h3, there's maybe the prospect of bishop takes h3. But I can just take back. And it's hard for... Oh, actually, I missed queen takes d4. Thankfully, that's not too concerning. I can block the check. It'd still be okay. If black takes on g3, I can probably take on d5. I maybe let my guard down, because actually queen takes d4, rook f2, there's bishop c5. Black takes on g3. So now I'm deciding. I could take on d5 right away. There is this idea of bishop h3 to go for the mating attack. And then there'd be ways to defend, like queen e2 or rook f2. White would be very safe. But I want to start with bishop f4. And developing my last minor piece, attacking the queen. Bishop's defended by the rook. And the queen is almost trapped. There's only one safe square on h4. And now I can take on d5. And it's a very nice position now. Up a pawn, but more importantly, have a great lead in development. And now it's a question how to progress further. And it looks like I have some tactics here. I can take on a6, removing the defender of c7. So I will be winning some material. Black didn't want to take back and allow knight c7. Decides to bond cloud the king. And now I'm going to play pawn e6. Try and drive the king into the center. Also open the e-file. Maybe set up this. Actually, if the king takes a pawn, I'm thinking queen e2. There's a few different moves. I could start with this, I guess. I'm going to calculate a little bit. Queen e2, king d7. And then I take and I'm threatening mate. Yeah, let's go for this. There's also some stylish mates that if black takes the knight, I don't think I have mate in 1. But, I mean, there's queen c4 forcing king e4. Oh, there's mate in 2, I think. There's queen e5. Yeah, let's go for queen e5. Black has to move back, and then this will be checkmate. Yeah, always fun to drag the opponent's king into the center of the board. So another nice win, this time with the King's Gambit. Up to 497, so some pretty quick rating raising. Yeah, overall, I think this is a nice example of when things go right for white in the King's Gambit. Just to show if black were to accept, I was going to play this line, bishop to c4. This is known as a bishop's gambit, allowing this, and then play king f1 with idea to expand with knight f3 and d4, get bishop c5 threatening checkmate, then d4 is very good, and then knight f3. So I'm sure we'll get more examples of these lines in this series. But let's play one more game to cross the 500 mark, hopefully. Playing this person, rated 504. And I play the Danish Gambit, I play the King's Gambit. Let's play maybe another tricky opening. Oh, is my opponent going to play a Stafford Gambit? Some beginners also like to take, yeah, the copycat chess. This is actually one of the first opening traps I learned in chess. How to punish the copycat opening. Because now if knight moves back, the file is open. I can play knight c6, attacking the king and the queen. This is an opening trap that I think every chess player should learn from pretty early on. Hopefully an important lesson for my opponent. And okay, let's focus on developing, open up the line for the bishop. Now it is kind of funny that black could set up a trap here by castling and then give me the bishop, but have rook e8 to win back my queen. And even if I fall for that, I'd still be winning material. Actually debating, this might be one of the best lines, but I'm going to go for bishop f4 to pressure the knight. And here I can take, because if black takes back, the rook's not defended. And now it's an all-you-can-eat buffet in black's territory. Not quite checkmate, but material is falling. Can take the rook. My pawn is hanging. Trying to think about the quickest way to checkmate. Maybe bishop c4 and queen e8 to attack f7. But black resigns. So a lot of quick games. Actually, the game was abandoned, but yeah, hopefully a lot of valuable lessons from these early games. I know a lot of people who watch my content are maybe higher rated than this rating range, but for everyone watching that's new to chess and maybe wants to learn how to punish opponents at this rating level, I hope these games offered some nice insights, nice instruction. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next episode, and stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon.